In continuation from our previous video, we're going to set up game launchers other than Steam. This will include Epic Games, GOG, Ubisoft Connect, Battle.net, EA App, Rockstar Games Launcher, and HoYoPlay. To achieve this, we'll use what are considered wine managers. I'm going to present 3 that I personally use. I'd also like to let you know that these are not the only ones that can be used. In the world of Linux gaming, there are always new projects being developed. So maybe by the time you see this video down the road, a few more may have gained popularity. A wine manager is a software tool that helps us manage and run Windows applications on a Linux system using Wine. It allows us to install, configure, and troubleshoot Windows applications, making it easier to use them on Linux. Popular gaming wine managers include Lutris, Heroic Games Launcher, and Bottles. Let's first start by installing Lutris. We can do this through the software store, but I'd like to show you how to do it through the command line so that we can get a little more comfortable doing things there, and see what happens along with the installation of the application, since it will install the dependencies needed for Lutris to run. Open up your terminal and let's enter sudo dnf install Lutris. You will see all the packages required on the list. You can scroll up and take a look around. Y for yes. Once installed, we'll open the application and head over to Preferences to set up a few things. For the interface option, everything here is fully optional. Now we have runners. As far as this category is concerned, I will save it for another video, as this mostly will involve emulation. You can see that there's a plethora of retro emulators here. If we head over to Wine, you can see here that you can install different versions of Wine. This is important because it can restore functionality to some older games. So if there is a Wine version that works perfectly with an older game, you will be recommended to get it, and this is where you can get it from. For sources, I turn off everything I'm not going to use here, except for EA App, Ubisoft Connect, and Battle.net. Under Update, you'll find the Wine Update channel. We'll keep the channel at stable. Right below, it informs us that we do not have Wine GE installed. We'll go ahead and download it. This will act as our default Wine. You will want to check for updates for runtime components like DXVK, VKD3D, and Winetricks. These are important system components to run Windows games on Linux. Under storage, you can set a default location for your game library. Prefer to keep it default unless we're going to install to a separate hard drive. Global options makes it so that you don't have to configure each individual settings for each individual game. Turn on advanced and you'll be able to see a few more options. Changing these will make them the default. There are not many settings we're going to change here. Keep this in mind. In a future video, there will be times where we will come back here and enter some variables for our games. The first launcher I'm going to install is Battle.net. The easiest way to do this is by clicking on the plus button located on the top left side of the application. Click on Search the Lutris website for installers. Type in Battlenet. Click on blizzardbattle.net. This menu here is letting us know the type of script it's going to run to install this here. We'll click Install. We have our default directory, and it's going to create a subfolder for Battlenet. Here we have the option to create a desktop shortcut, an applications menu shortcut, or a Steam shortcut. These are all to your preference. I'm going to click Continue. This is letting us know where it's going to download its source from. So it's going to download this from the Blizzard Battlenet website. Click Install. It's now creating a Wine prefix where Battlenet will live. Now you will see that the actual Blizzard Battlenet installer is now on our screen. We'll go through the options as we would normally do on Windows. Click Continue. We don't want this to launch. It won't launch unless we launch it. We'll click Continue. One important thing to pay attention to, just right here behind the application, it is letting us know, do not attempt to log into Battle.net. Once Battle.net has finished installing and the login window appears, simply close it. You will log in the next time you start up the app. So let's follow the instructions. Installation is complete. We'll close this. We can either double click or come down here and hit play. Once the login menu appears, you can go ahead and log into your Battlenet account. Once you're logged in, just like on Windows, it will ask you if you want to scan for your games. We don't have any installed, so we'll click done. From here, we could go ahead and install the games that we know work on Linux. Let's go ahead and continue by adding the EA app. We'll once again search the Lutris website for installers. Type in EA app. You will see many results. We just scroll down to the letter E, and here it is, EA app. Standard installation. It's going to create its own folder. Once again, you have the options to create the shortcuts. It's downloading from the source. And it is also creating a new wine prefix for this. We'll give it a moment. EA is going to need WineGecko installer, so we'll go ahead and install it. Let's go ahead and follow the installer, same way as on Windows. Our installation is complete. Let's close it. Let's launch the EA app and log in. Logged into our EA account, we can go to our library. A bit of an advisory. Many EA online games are going to have integration with the new EA anti-cheat, so many of these games may not want to work. However, I'm just showing you that it's possible if you want to play your games from the EA app that are not online compatible. I have many games here that can be played through Linux that are not online multiplayer games that will not require the EA anti-cheat. So this is one thing to keep in mind. We're now going to install Ubisoft Connect. We'll go to the plus button, search the Lutris website for the installer. Type Ubisoft. We have Ubisoft Connect here. We can go with the latest, click install. It's going to create a directory. Once again, you have the option to create shortcuts. Click continue. It's going to download it directly from Ubisoft. Let's click install. Installation is complete. We'll close it. One important thing with Ubisoft Connect, if you are downloading this to play XDefiant, for instance, this game actually needs something added to the wine prefix to make the game playable. Let's navigate down to the little wine bottle near the Ubisoft launch. Click the menu and open up Wine Tricks. We're going to select a default prefix. We're going to look for a DLL component to add. Click on Install a Windows DLL or component and click OK. Scroll down the list until you find PDH. You want to click on the one that says PDH, not PDH_NT4. Click OK. And this will make XDefiant playable. We'll go ahead and log into Ubisoft Connect. When the Wine Tricks window pops up again, just hit cancel until the window is closed. We are now logged into Ubisoft Connect, where we could download many games. One game I know for sure will not work will be Rainbow Six Siege. For the most part, these other games will work. Let's continue. We're going to install the Rockstar game launcher. Hit the plus button, and once again, search Lutris website for the installer. Type in Rockstar. You'll see the Rockstar games launcher at the top. We'll click the standalone version, install. Once again, it gives you the option for your shortcuts. Gathering it from the source. Once again, this is important to take note. Install. Here's the launcher installer. We'll set it up as normal. We'll uncheck Run Rockstar Game Launcher on close, and then we'll close the installer. Installation complete. Close. Then we'll launch it and log in. This also has the option to scan for installations, but we'll cancel this. And now you'll be able to install any of these games on the Rockstar game launcher. However, do note that as of the date of this recording, Rockstar just implemented Battlenet into GTA 5, which is making it impossible to play online. There are workarounds, however, we will not cover that here. Just know that GTA 5 can be played in single player mode as of right now. And then last but not least, in my particular setup, we're going to get the HoYoPlay launcher. This will allow us to play Genshin Impact and Zenless Zone Zero on our Linux PC. First, you want to navigate to the website to find the HoYoPlay launcher installer. We're going to click download. Once downloaded, we'll go back to Lutris. Let's go to the plus button. From here, we're going to take a different approach. We're going to install a Windows game from executable. We have to give this a name. I like to click on the identifier and then click install. Wine is going to set up a file for us. It's going to create a directory once again. Just click continue. Here, we will have to provide that file that we downloaded so that Lutris can install it for us. Let's find the file. Here is our HoYoPlay install file. This is the Windows exe. Let's add that. Then click install. Let's set it up as we would on Windows. Now, this one doesn't give us the option to not launch, so we'll click finish and launch. Before we continue, we want to give Lutris a chance to wrap up the installation, so we'll just close the program. I prefer to close and exit. Installation is complete. We'll close this. We can launch it again. And from here, we are able to install Zenless Zone Zero and Genshin Impact. Honkai Star Rail does not yet work with this method, but it is my belief that soon it will be able to. There are many other launchers you can install using Lutris. I'm sure you noticed by now we did not install GOG or Epic Games. For that reason, we have another wine manager that is far better to manage those two. We'll close out of Lutris and let's open up the Discover store. Here, you want to search for Heroic Games Launcher. This is the Heroic Games Launcher. It will launch your Epic Games, GOG games, and Amazon Prime games. We'll go ahead and download this. Once downloaded, we can go ahead and launch it. This is the Heroic Games Launcher. The first thing we'll do is head over to our settings tab. Here you can change a wide variety of things. You can change your language, the theme, installation paths. If you have custom wine paths, you can direct them here, and many other personalization options. We have an option for game defaults. And as you can see, it's letting us know this wine path is invalid, but don't worry, we have a wine manager within this as well. You have options to bring up the FPS HUDs here. And we have the Battlenet and Easy Anti-Cheat runtimes for those games that can be played on Linux that do require these. Under Advanced, you can enter variables here. We'll go over this another time. And Game Scope, which we'll also go over another time. Let's set up the essential here. We'll head over to Wine Manager and we'll download Wine GE Latest. Give that a moment to download. And you may notice that we also have access to Proton GE. We can also get Proton GE Latest. Proton GE Latest will be used on a case-by-case basis for certain games that will not run with the Wine GE Latest. These are custom wine implementations created by Glorious Eggro, who happens to be a developer at Red Hat, which is the parent company of Fedora. And he has been making strides in making a lot of these applications viable for Linux gaming. So this is a very trusted name in Linux gaming. We'll go over to the login menu, and here we see that we can log in to Epic Games, GOG, and Amazon. I'm going to go ahead and log in through Epic Games through the standard login. Now I'm going to go ahead and log in to GOG. Now I'm logged in to Epic Games and GOG. Unfortunately, I don't have an Amazon gaming account. It's still enough to show you the function of this application. We can go to our library. Now that we're in our library, this is listing out all games from both launchers. As you can see up here on the top right of the game art, you can see that this says Epic Games. And this one down here shows that it's a GOG game. If you wanted to filter these, go to the filter, untick GOG, and it'll show you all your Epic games. Alternatively, you can click on GOG and unclick Epic Games, and you'll see all of your GOG games. To install a game, hover over it, click it, and once you click on a game, you will be greeted with some information here about the game. This lets you know the download size, the install size, and, importantly, Proton compatibility tier. This one is a Platinum. This means this game will run without problems. And you'll also see that Steam Deck compatibility is here as well. These two are good markers to see if your game is compatible for running on Linux. To install it, just click Install. It's going to create a folder within our Games folder. We can click here to show wine settings. If you have a particular wine prefix that you need your game to run with, you can change that here. For the most part, the latest Wine GE will run most games. We'll click Install and let that install in the background. Your installed games will appear first on the list, and they will have a color to their game art, which is pretty cool. Another cool thing you can do, you can actually visit the game stores from this application. So if you wanted to collect your weekly free Epic games, just scroll down and collect them here. Our final application is going to be Bottles. We can get this from the Discover store. Let's go ahead and download it. Once it's ready, we can open it up. There's a welcome menu here if you want to get familiar. When you initially start the application, it's going to do things in the background to set up the application. When it's ready, click on Start Using Bottles. Now, for many people out there, they would prefer to use Bottles over Lutris or Heroic Games Launcher. I like to use Bottles as a wine Swiss Army knife. When things don't work in one, I will then use Bottles to run it there. To start using Bottles, we'll click on the Bottles menu, then create a new bottle. Bottles is great if you're going to use this to install a Windows application that is compatible to run through Wine on Linux, and it's also great for gaming. Here we have two choices and the option for something custom. If we're going to set this up for gaming, we'll click Gaming and give it a name. I'll call it Gaming. Create the bottle, and it's going to go ahead and create a new wine prefix for you. This is a great tool because you can create many bottles to isolate games from each other. Our bottle is now created and we can hit close. Let's go inside our bottle, and from here you can run an executable. You can follow the same example for the HoYoPlay install we did earlier. We can use this, click here, and run it. And you see that the application starts up. We'll close this because I don't want to install this application again, but you get the idea. Additionally, you can click Install Programs. As you can see, we have a lot of community submissions here for installing many different applications, and you get a rating for them as well. If you don't find what you need to install here, then you'll just do the method we did before by running the executable. Let's go over the settings. Here, you're able to change your runner, and your runner will be your version of Wine. Bottles uses a modified version of Steam's Proton by the name of Soda. You can also run the system Wine. This was installed when we installed Lutris. You have your different versions of DXVK and VKD3D. Latency Flex is a very sensitive option to use. You may want to use this for games that are single player, but want to avoid it for multiplayer games because they can run the risk of attracting a ban to your account. If a game does not have FSR available, you can activate it through here. And if we turn this on, you can go to the cog wheel and choose the type of quality mode that you want to use. It'll automatically downscale the game and re-upscale it using FSR. Post-processing effects is similar, like using Reshape. For this, you will need VK Basalt installed through Flatpak. We'll go over this in another video. For now, this is just where you would go to activate this. GameScope is also able to be activated here as well. Again, we'll go over this in another video. These are more advanced features for gaming on Linux. Under performance, F-Sync will take advantage of using multi-core CPUs. If your game for some reason doesn't work with F-Sync, you may want to try and bring this down to E-Sync or System. To monitor your performance, we'll go over Mango HUD in a separate video, but it can be activated here. Barrel Game Mode can apply optimizations to improve your game performance, so we could turn this on with no problem. Under compatibility, we could change the Windows type. This is great if you're running older games. You can change it to the more compatible Windows version. If a game requires a Steam runtime to be enabled, you can do that from here as well. Please take the time and look around and familiarize yourself with a lot of the language here. Take some time to do a few Google searches if you don't understand anything, because a lot of these settings here can be very helpful to running older games or troubled applications. In the dependencies menu, if you need a Microsoft DLL component or fonts, they can be installed through this menu. Just scroll down, take a look around, and see what you may need. For the most part, some important things are already handled and installed. One thing that I would recommend you go ahead and get is the VC Redist 2022. Many games will require this file, so it's good to just go ahead and download it now. Click the little save button, and it'll download it for us. And there is Bottles. These 3 applications should help you get started with everything you need for your gaming needs. They should help cover a vast majority of your games library. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to give it a like, share this video with a friend, and subscribe for more. This is just the second part of a small series to help you learn about Linux gaming. I want to thank all of you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.